Good morning to everybody and welcome to Timeout. My name is Windt, and this morning I want to pose a question to you, and I want you, as you listen, to come to your own conclusion, because I'm only posing the question and saying a few facts, but it's up to you and I to make those conclusions ourselves. So this is the question I want to ask. When it comes to the COVID-19, not just South Africa, but in the world, are they pulling the sheep over our eyes? Now, I see you laughing because you say, isn't it really the wool over our eyes? Yes, I know it is the wool over our eyes, but I want to emphasize it a bit this morning and say maybe they're trying to pull the whole sheep over our eyes when it comes to COVID-19, or maybe not. So, as I live in South Africa, and I'm proudly South African, I love our people, I think we're very resilient, but I'm sometimes, as a man in the street, an ordinary person, perplexed by some of the decisions that are made by our leaders. And so this is the question I always hear people say, not just our leaders, but in the world. Lives matter and jobs matter. And I want to say that I believe both are true. As a matter of fact, I think they're synonymous with one another. The lives matter and their jobs also matter because they influence one another. So let me just say that off the cuff. But what does perplex me is that when people say these things, I find it difficult to believe that they really mean what they say. So let me start with South Africa before we go to the world. We have people that say that, lives matter when it comes to COVID-19. And during the 43 days of lockdown, or 44 days now of lockdown, the mortality rate has been just over 160. And that's still a lot of people dying. And every life is important, I want to just say. But I just want to paint it in a perspective of other things to see the real picture. Last year in South Africa, and these stats are all from, they are there in the public domain. They didn't suck them out of my thumb. You can go research them. Last year in South Africa, 2019, the fatalities are for murders alone per day were 58. If you times that by 43 or 44, you'll find that we come roughly to 2,400, I think in 94 people were killed. 2,494 people were killed through murders over a period of 43 or 44 days. Now, if you look at the mortality rate for COVID-19 over the same days, it's 160. So murders were 16 times more in the same period of time. What I'm saying is that I don't find that people reacted the same way to save lives when it came to murders, or changed laws, or went into lockdown, or did something out of the ordinary to save lives. And that's just one thing, murders. If you look in the world, they say every 40 seconds somebody dies from committing suicide. And if you look at the first 4 months of this year, you'll find that it's over 300,000 people lost their lives to suicide, which people say is something that is an illness that can be treated, or we should be helping people. That's more people than the whole world's mortality rate for COVID-19 currently. And yet I never read an article where people say we need to change laws to help people not die from suicide. Why is it then that lives don't matter in other instances? Now, coming back to South Africa, we are a very humorous nation. We have ministers and leaders that make statements like the other day that's going around all over the world probably, and people laughing, which is not a bad thing, where when they were speaking about that we needed in the ICU for very ill people, we needed vibrators, and instead of saying ventilators, they said vibrators. And of course, it reminds me of the penguins of Madagascar. It's an animated series I used to love watching, and basically these penguins would live in a zoo, and every day they were like the Secret Service, and they would solve all the problems. And every day when the humans came in to visit, they would stand in a row and they would say to each other, smile and wave. And so that was a saying of the penguins of Madagascar, smile and wave. That's how I feel sometimes as a South African when I hear some of these humorous statements. I just say, Jack, just smile and wave. But it is pretty serious when it comes to these things. Now, that's now, if I go back to the world and how serious about saving lives, just to give a perspective, in India, it's a large country, over 26,000 people lose their lives every day just from various things, 26,000. So in the first 11 days of this year, India probably lost more people collectively than all the mortality rate of COVID-19. Just to put it in perspective. Doesn't make it right or wrong. Now let's go to saving jobs, because I think that's where we really are all interested in, because we all realize that jobs have been lost. They say, we don't know, that between 1 million and 4 million jobs can be lost in South Africa because of businesses shutting down. Who knows the billions of rands of turnover that is lost? But the tax revenue, they say, is 285 billion already lost to the government to spend on our country. That's a huge amount of money. And who knows what that figure is across the world. I believe that if we say that lives matters and jobs matters, why are we not doing more things to substantiate those statements? So I leave you with that this morning to say, you draw the conclusion. Because I really believe that when it comes to saving lives and saving jobs, it may just be up to us ordinary people to stand up and to say something. So you make your conclusion. Are they, when it comes to COVID-19, pulling the wool over our eyes? Or, as I said, trying to pull the whole sheep over our eyes or not? You decide. Thank you for watching. This has been Timeout, and my name is Jack Windt. I'll catch you next Saturday. Thank you.